let's get into our top 5. You came up with this concept. It's spooky season, folks.
There we go.
We're afraid of things, and one of the things that we're afraid of, Evan Bevins will tell you.
Okay, these are the top 5 cards we're afraid are going to get nerfed. We had a really weird update, or whatever they call it, a patch this past season, where the machines, the AI, Jesse's overlords, decided to make some changes, and they were some pretty extreme changes, although a lot of them got changed back. We had Shang-Chi went from Kung Fu kicking every 10 power and over card into oblivion into 1, which makes sense, although I'm kind of surprised they still left his power ratcheted down. And then we had Killmonger suddenly only affecting 1 location instead of all of them. We've seen some bad nerfs and some interesting changes. Well, as long as we're doing things that are scary, why not the top 5 cards we're afraid are going to get nerfed?
I'll start us out here. This was actually kind of a tough list for me to come up with because a lot of times when we talk a nerf, it could just be 1 power. And we're taking that down by a power. But a lot of what I focused on was like the abilities of the cards and what could possibly change. So I'm going to start out with one that I tend to play quite a bit. I have a deck specifically built for what I call lane fill. And Athena is one of the primary cards I have in that deck that gains the most power out of everybody else. So her ability right now, she costs 2 and has 0 power, which I think that was nerfed. I think she started out with more than 0 power.
2-1.
Right. At the end of turn, if you played exactly 2 cards, you gain +3. I've noticed that I can get Athena up there. It's not too hard to get her to where she's got enough power, especially if you have her paired with Invisible Woman First Steps, because she does that again. So she can have a +6 at the end of a turn if you needed her to. So I'll go with her just because I feel like she can get pretty up there. I don't say it's a huge disadvantage. I feel like she's been worked enough. I don't know how likely it is that she'll get nerfed. I am afraid, though, at some point they'll be like, we're going to give her 2 power, but taking down the bonus to +2 or something like that. She's not really that big of an impact right now. You don't hear a lot of people saying, oh, I got Athena in every deck, but I use her enough to where I'm like, if they do anything to her, then I'm going to probably be upset because I don't know what I want to do to replace her in the lane fill deck that I have. So she's enough to get out there for 2 costs. You can get her power up pretty significant. So there you go. That's my number 5 so far. That's going to be Athena.
I have not used Athena a whole bunch.
I kept calling her Athena. It's Thena. You're so right. Thena.
Well, you think she's a grade A card. I do like her from some of the early Jack Kirby Eternals comics. And then, also makes me think of Angelina Jolie. But I haven't used the card very much. I always feel like I can't swing the 2 cards a turn for some reason. But yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Okay.
A lot of mine are going to be newer cards because a lot of cards have been adjusted quite a bit. My number 5 is one that I keep putting in deck after deck with good reason, because she can, if you pair her with the right cards, have a great impact on the game, and you can determine exactly how, and she can do it over and over, and that is Clea.
Oh, okay.
1 costs 2 power. Anytime her power increases, whether she's on the board or in your hand, she creates a Flames of the Faultine.
Not the flatline.
Which can make your score flatline. And I think they do -3, which I just love. It's almost too good to be true, especially when you have Marvel Boy constantly powering her up. She can definitely swing a game, especially at just 1 cost. And I feel like they're going to take down. She'd still be usable at a -2 or even a -1, but I like the -3, and I want them to keep them that way.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So, yeah, if something changed for her, she might not be in a lot of decks. Yeah. As soon as there's an opening, like, oh, I could increase someone's power. Clea, where are you?
I don't have Agamotto, but she's definitely the one that produces a skill card that I feel like I like to use. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. I get it.
Really helps out your buddy Nicholas Scratch.
I
Speaking of cards that we don't have to worry about getting nerfed.
I was looking at him today. I was like, maybe at some point I don't know.
I use him in a lot of decks. I just, like to play the hits.
All right, then you got number 4.
An even newer card that we've talked about how useful she is, how she can swing a game, and if you do it right, there's lots of shenanigans, and that is Omega Sentinel.
That's a good pick right there. That was going to be my number 4 as well. I agree 100% with you. You go ahead and lay it all out there. I'm sure I'm going to agree.
It's just because of the point swing is huge, but you do have to play her in time to activate it and decide when to do it and remember to actually activate it. It's such a great swing, but I could see them taking her down because she would still be effective, but I like the 7 points. Yeah. So I feel like I don't know if that will last very long in the next season. I could be wrong. I hope I am.
My opinion is I think it'll drop to 6. If they nerf it, yeah, I think it'll just be 1. But again, 7 versus 6 can mean a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
6-7, as the kids would say.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that one tonight.
Hey, man, I'm trying to lower the demographic on our audience.
All right. Number 3. All right. This might be one that's on your list, so I want to make sure. Let me just go ahead and bring it up so I know his. I want to make sure I understand his ability because I feel like the Thing First Steps.
Hey, guess what my number 3 is?
Is it really?
Yes.
All right.
The Thing First Steps is also my number 3.
Yes. The ability is end of turn +2 power once per game. If your side is full, destroy an enemy card here with less power. I do not like facing this card at all. When I see it across from me, I'm like, what do I do here? I remember today I was playing one and I was like, I don't really want him to destroy that card. I've got to try and get it up above what his power is. Well, he kept gaining power and I could not get that card up to where I was safe from him. And sure enough, he destroyed it. I feel like he's a 5/6, which gets him out there later in the game. +2 power. I don't feel like you can take away the destroy an enemy card here because that feels like that is an ability that I just feel like they don't go in there and change core abilities like that. They'll change his power. I bet they'll reduce something there. It'll just be reduce, either the 6 to a 5 or end of turn +2 and be end of turn +1. I think most likely it'd be the 6 to a 5 reduce. Anyway, this is by all means the guy that you wanted to get. You've loved this card. What's your thoughts on why are you so scared?
He's great. For one thing, it seems like Ben Grimm was just a punchline for so long in Snap, but I can see the argument for changing it, but I like him too much, so I don't want him to. A compromise I could maybe accept is after he destroys a card, he quits gaining power. That's what's great about him is not only does he destroy a card, but then he keeps gaining power after that. I've won some games with that. But I mean, my argument against changing it will be you still have to fill up a lane with him, which can sometimes be hard to do and still maintain a good fight on one or both other lanes. So I'm not saying he needs to be changed. I like him the way he is, but there are cards that, despite how effective they may or may not be, are way more imbalanced. I hope they leave Ben Grimm alone and let him continue to shine.
All right. Well,
I have no idea how high he can fly.
That was our number 3. So then you got number 2.
Do you want to say it together?
I don't think there's no way. We've overlapped twice. If we overlap a third time, there's some craziness happening here.
Well, most of my cards are newer, but this one is not. And it's a card that has been nerfed rather disastrously, in my opinion, before.
We might say it at the same time.
Making this a hero I was much less likely to hire.
Oh, okay. All right. We're not going to say this.
Until they increased his cost, which I thought was fair, and that's Luke Cage.
Okay. All right.
To be fair, he is way more powerful than Luke Cage ought to be. I think I said when we were talking about cards that should have other cards' powers, the Invisible Woman should probably have his power.
Yeah.
Because what did they do? Did they change it to where he only affected one location? Was that the original nerf? That ticked me off because there's so many cards that can subtract things on a wide scale. They settled pretty fair, but it's still really powerful for Luke Cage. And I got to thinking about that after they did the Killmonger thing, which they reversed. So he affects the whole board again. But I'm like, might not be. Like I said, not all of these are ones that I'm like, this would be an outrage if they did this. I just wouldn't like it. And so I love Luke Cage. I haven't been using him as much just because there have been other cards I wanted to try, but he's always rock solid. I can think of maybe one card where you would go, I don't think I want to put Luke Cage in this deck, and that's Ajax. But other than that, like, if you're going, I am building a deck, perhaps I should put Luke Cage in this deck. Unless Ajax is in that deck, you don't have an argument against it. It's always good to have Luke Cage. Even if your opponent isn't trying to subtract your power, there's other effects that can do it. The one I always use is the Dan Hip version with his classic 70s costume, and it's just magnificent. So leave Luke Cage alone.
Do not touch him. Yeah, he's a nice little insurance policy. You don't want to see this guy get dedicated to one lane. He's been so useful to so many people since they've widened the amount of cards out there. There is still that chance somebody's running a hazmat deck, or you are running your own hazmat deck with him in it, which, so, hey, yeah, I understand. They hopefully learned their lesson. Hopefully they said, okay, well, we understand what these people want, and we'll definitely not touch it anymore. All right, my number 2, you started talking about old cards that had been nerfed in the past. I present to you Adam Warlock. Before he was really, the big thing was like he was a 5 cost, if I remember right. Was that what the nerf was?
That was after one of their adjustments of it.
Yeah, because they brought him up to...
Wasn't he originally a 2/0?
I think that he was.
But it was just draw a card and everybody was like, eh.
Yeah, so he was a 2/0. He was a 2/0. At the end of each turn, if you are winning this location, draw a card. That was it.
Yeah.
And then the text gets modified after each turn, draw a card. If you're winning here, he's a 2/0. This is October of 2023. And then February of 2024, after each turn, he becomes a 5 cost, 4 power. After each turn, draw a card if you're winning here. So they pushed him way late.
Yeah.
And then a year later, they give him 1 more power. A year later, in February of 25, this year, after each turn, draw a card if you're winning here. Otherwise, +1 power. And he's a 2 cost, 0 power back again. It was one of the worst nerfs. Everybody loved having him in a deck. The excuse was the most powerful thing you can do in Marvel Snap is draw a card and draw extra cards. I remember thinking that's BS. And then I started putting him in decks that is 2 cost, 0 power. When he got redone here in February, I really started to learn how powerful that is, specifically in my Namora deck. Because I could lay Namora out there, he'd be on one lane, and I'd throw 5 power at him, or maybe 10 power if Wong's involved, and then I merge him with... that gives him 3 power immediately, and then I start drawing extra cards. There's like 3-4 cards that I need in that deck to make everything work. Back to me being afraid of him. Please don't do it. If you're going to do anything, maybe take him down to a -1. Don't do anything that messes with end of turn. Now he's gaining power, which is great. If he's not winning, he's going to gain power, and that kind of puts him off. But honestly, he's won the game for me a couple times too with that +1. All of a sudden he picks it up and you're like, oh crap, I just won the game. I'm afraid of him being nerfed. Drawing cards is one of the most powerful things in Marvel Snap. Do you run into him very often out there?
I see him.
Okay. All right. I don't know if
not like all the time, but yeah, he is someone I consider in several decks. Honestly, that's kind of the way Adam Warlock is. I'm no Adam Warlock scholar, but that kind of reminds me of the way he is in the comics. You're not quite sure what he's going to do, but then he can make a huge difference.
Yeah. All right. So that's my number 2. My number 1 was the number 1 card that I thought of immediately when you suggested this as a topic. I really don't know if a lot of people are going to agree with me or not on it, because it's kind of new. It is also a card that when you look at it, you try to figure out if there's room to nerf. But I think if you just change one word in the text, then that's probably how they would go. And my number one is going to be Surge. Surge is 2 cost, 1 power. She is probably, in my opinion, one of the most versatile cards. She's up there, probably top 5 versatile cards in the deck. You could put her in just about any deck, and she's going to hopefully provide you with an advantage. Give the top card of your deck -1 cost and +1 power. So not only is the cost of that card getting reduced, the power is getting adjusted and bumped up as well. And after you play it, you repeat the ability. And I remember when Surge dropped and you were explaining to me that it continued, I was like, holy crap, that's great, because you play that next card, you get that ability on the next card, and then you get the next one, and then the next one. I started using Surge a lot recently and noticed the advantages she gives. Very versatile card. I think that if they were to nerf her, it would probably be to change the and to an or. So it would be -1 cost or +1 power, kind of like, is it Phastos?
Yep.
Phastos does it.
Mr. Fantastic First Steps.
Right. The reason why she's number one on my list is because how much you can use her in just about any deck. Just about any deck she can go into and make that much of an impact. If you do something to harm that, she could go from one of the top cards being used to not even making a hit on the stats. My number one, Surge. You have the floor to finish this out.
Okay, mine is another older one that has been nerfed before. I wasn't thrilled about it, but I understand it. And it's still an extremely useful card. So useful, in fact, that I'm kind of surprised they haven't nerfed it more, but I don't want them to because I love using it, and that is Red Hulk.
Red Hulk.
Now, what I can't remember, I should go to Snap Zone, because I think originally when he came out, and he was 6 cost, and wasn't he like 11 or 12 power? And then he got a +4 bonus if your opponent did not use all their power that turn. And so he got way, way high. So he was a 6'11 +4 power. Then they bumped him down to a 6'9. Then they split the difference, put him at 6'10 and +3 power. And it's in hand or in play. He's great. He's won me more than a few games. He can work with anything because he really doesn't need any other cards to succeed. You know, Fantasticar or Invisible Woman First Steps can make him even more dangerous. And he's so dangerous that I would understand it. If they wanted to drop him to a +2 power, I'd probably still use him. But I really wish they wouldn't. Red Hulk, I mean, he's still got a Shang-Chi glass jaw. He can be stopped. But yeah, he's one of my go-to cards. And, you know, there still need to be some dangerous cards out there.
I agree. All right, well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen.
At least when I use them.
That was our discussion of the top 5 cards we are afraid that will get nerfed. Happy, spooky, scary season, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be afraid. Let's go ahead and get into plugs. Evan Bevins, let everybody know what you're doing over there on Asterisk 51 and other things as well.
Well, since it is October, I just finished my first round of what I hope is going to be an every weekend occurrence of a Free Comic Friday and Dollar Tree Cinema doubleheader. This was a DC Superhero Girls issue from Halloween Comic Fest to coincide with that property's 10th anniversary, and the original Little Shop of Horrors, starring a very young and very Joker-esque Jack Nicholson. Actually not starring, he's in one scene, but 70% of the photos on IMDb are of Jack Nicholson in the movie. It's not musical. It's really weird. It's Roger Corman. I've got some more of that coming up for this month. And then I got a couple shows coming up over on the Magazines and Monsters channel with Billy D. We did a Brave and the Bold, which was not written by Bob Haney, a Brave and the Bob, minus the Bob.
Oh,
but there's still some zaniness to it. And we're also going to discuss the movie Wolfen, the 1981 movie. It was actually the second time I watched it. The first time was at my best friend, who I betrayed at Risk, at his bachelor party. We watched it while we played Risk.
That's spectacular.
I paid closer attention to it. It's just like the movie. I mean, it's a movie that's interesting to watch, but I kept learning more about the movie And the facts about how the movie was made would make an interesting movie in and of itself.
Interesting.
It stars Albert Finney, who I think I first saw in Aaron Brockovich in the early 2000s. This movie came out in 1981. Albert Finney
looks the same.
He looks like he was the same age as when he made Aaron Brockovich and was made up to look younger. It didn't quite work.
That's crazy.
All respect to the late, great Albert Finney. I'm just saying, when I watched that, I'm like, he looks just like he did in Aaron Brockovich, except he's got brown hair.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that's not even the weirdest thing about that. You got to listen to Billy D and I discuss this movie and all the people who were in it that we didn't realize were in it. Just, it's good stuff. And watch the movie.
All right. Anything else?
Then listen to the podcast. Oh, no, Mark and I have an on trial coming up, comparing and contrasting the original and the latest Red Sonja movies. Mark has asked me as research to read all the Red Sonja comics.
How many of those?
Working on that.
I was going to say there's a lot of Red Sonja out there. I know that much.
Yeah. But I feel like I at least need to read Vampirella and Red Sonja meet Betty and Veronica.
I think
that's a real thing.
We did Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn meets Betty and Veronica. I remember that coming up, what you're talking about, because we were thinking about that one. Go ahead.
So, no, that's about it, unless I crash your and Chris Armstrong's Midnight Suns hullabaloo.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right. Did you plug the stuff that we did with Billy, which is Captain America?
Oh, shoot. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Captain America and Ghost Rider, that classic team. Fear. Because DC isn't the only comic company that was like, you know what would be a good concept for a villain? A scarecrow. And, earlier Marvel writers were like, hey, what if it's a contortionist and he has trained crows? And then somewhere in the 90s, Howard Mackey or somebody was like, what if he was a serial killer?
Yep.
Who used pitchforks? A lot of pitchforks.
A lot of pitchforks.
And I'm not saying that you should go out and kill people with pitchforks. All I'm saying is if your vocation does involve pitchforks, you're going to need more than one.
Yes. And
don't use them on people. But I'm sure there are other valid reasons to have a pitchfork.
One of my favorite revelations of that whole podcast was us figuring out that, hey, he does have multiple pitchforks in multiple rooms. It makes sense for him to be doing this. Great stuff.
So if there's ever a dispute over the facts about superpowered serial killers in the Marvel Universe, or perhaps in another comic book universe, and Howard Mackey and myself are telling you different things, you guys listen to Howard Mackey.
Please do.
And listen to that podcast abilities.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, most likely you are on the Source Material Comics feed. We have all sorts of fun shows here, including, of course, Snap Material, where we discuss Marvel Snap. Previous season, upcoming season, you heard it all. We'll be coming back at you next month. This is probably one of the earliest episodes recorded prior to the new season starting. We'll hopefully have these out real soon. If you like comics of any era, check out the Source Material Comics podcast, where me and Mark Radulich here recently have been getting together and talking about we finished up Darth Vader, finally. 3 episodes of that. I don't think we drew that out too long, but it was a long series of...
It was epic.
Yes, it was a lot of comics. Mark finally learned his lesson and said, I'm not going to do that to you anymore. I was like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. As far as Unspoken Issues go, this week will be our final entry into Black September. We bled over into October, but me and Chris Armstrong finished out the last 4 Infinity issues that we were discussing. We recorded that today. Let's get out of here. That over there is Evan Bevins. I'm Jesse Starcher. Thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you next month. Keep on snapping. Keep on snapping.
Go get some nachos.